We know how important manufacturing jobs are for the middle class, and yet we've heard President Gerard just speak about what is actually occurring in the significant loss of manufacturing jobs in this country. This is the first time in the history of our country that we have officially more people signed up and collecting unemployment than are working in manufacturing jobs in this country. We have to go back to this amount of numbers to 1941, the end of the Great Depression. Now, if and when you're elected to the Senate of the United States, what steps would you take to promote manufacturing jobs in this country and to bring those American jobs that have fled this country, bring them back here?
Absolutely.
What would you do?
First, I've already taken steps. I've proposed them. I told you about these small business tax cuts and incentives. For example, we have what are called 7A 504C loans from Small Business Administration that have been slashed 40% by the Republican leadership. Those senior Republican senators and others who just slashed them. What I propose is that for manufacturing and for investing into manufacturing, we should, again, increase these business loans from, normally they're about $3 million to about $5.5 million for manufacturing, to push the focus towards manufacturing. This is particularly important here in Pennsylvania. Why? We've probably in the last 30 years had a decrease in our manufacturing jobs about 70%. The rest of the nation's done it only about 40%. In fact, our job increase here in Pennsylvania has been 1/2 in the last 30 years of the rest of the nation. It's why we've only had an increase of our population in Pennsylvania as the kids leave, 1/7 of the rest of the nation. This is a national issue, but it's actually even more important in Pennsylvania. We're not the third oldest state in the union for any other reason that the job creation here has been half. And it's because manufacturing has been ignored. And so I also have proposed that we reinvigorate what's called the New Market Venture Capital Program that the Bush administration stopped. We used to have venture capital go into manufacturing and other types of capability to increase of $80 billion in 2000. After the Bush administration took over and they slashed that and other programs, before 2008's recession began, venture capital had decreased to $29 billion. So my legislation proposed and actually passed the House and is sitting there in the deep freeze in the Senate, actually matches a government low interest fund for every $1 million that market capital is put into manufacturing. So I don't want to wait until I get to the Senate. If the Senate would act on this bill, in 2000, that amount of money that went into from venture capital into the economy produced 21% of our GDP. There's so much to do where programs have been ignored because, quite frankly, my opponent, both of them, Pat Toomey and others in Ireland, they voted for tax loopholes that now let big corporations ship jobs overseas. How do they do that? Large corporations don't have to bring their profits home until they want to. We have to change the focus from Wall Street and big corporations to Main Street, small businesses and the working family, as the question 2 ago was. There's so much to be done with the right legislation.
If and when you're elected to go back to the Senate, what steps would you take to bring manufacturing jobs, to promote manufacturing jobs in this country, and also to bring the American companies that left here, bring them back here to America?
Mickey, the first thing that I would do would be to take effective action to stop China. Don't go away, Mickey. I have a question for you. To stop.
Can he wait? He can ask a question, but I can't.
To stop China from sending goods into the United States, which are subsidized. Now, I'm Leo Gerard's lawyer. When cases, I'm all of your lawyers, by the way, 12 million of you. But when cases come before the International Trade Commission, first thing Leo does is call me up and say, Arlen, whatever you're doing on this date, I want you before the ITC to argue your case for 2 reasons. Number 1, you win the cases. We did the tire case and the steel case. And secondly, the price is right. But I am qualified to argue cases before the ITC and win them and save a lot of American jobs and preserve manufacturing in this country, especially in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.